Titans fans, welcome into Titans Today. I am Will Scott. We're going to be getting into a Titans mailbag. You have questions, I have answers. We're going to be talking about some rumors, some juicy trade rumors on today's show. You're not going to want to miss that. But first, turn on those notifications and subscribe to the squad of over 4,000 Titans fans. We're trying to become the fastest growing Titans channel on YouTube, and I can promise you if you turn on those notifications, you're not going to miss anything. You're going to get an alert on your phone every single time we put out a video, and we're putting out multiple videos a week, keeping you in the loop about the latest Titans news and rumors. So subscribe and turn on those notifications right now. You won't regret it. Sambo has our first question of the day, and it is about a trade for Robby Anderson. He says, I saw a trade proposal for Robby Anderson. What do you think the Titans should give up in a trade? Great question, Sambo. So these Anderson trade rumors are heating up after this report yesterday from me and Rappaport. A new quarterback in Carolina. The Panthers are acquiring former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield. I said yesterday, I meant Wednesday, are acquiring former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield for the Browns for a 2024 conditional 5th-round pick. Sources tell me and Tom Pelissero, deal is pending a physical. All parties split the financials to make it happen. So the reason that Anderson is in trade rumors after this is because he was very outspoken about how much he did not want Baker Mayfield in Carolina. It started from an Instagram post when it was about a potential trade for Mayfield. I think NFL or the NFL Instagram account or somebody posted about it, and Anderson responded saying no, and then another Instagram account posted about Anderson's post saying he does not want Baker in Carolina, and Anderson said facts. And then Anderson's coming out yesterday and saying, oh, I don't have a problem with Baker. He might get traded. It might happen. Here's what FanSided said about a potential Robby Anderson trade. In Tennessee, he would get a chance to play with the best quarterback he has ever played with, which is saying something, the best running back he has ever gotten to play with, and potentially the best pass catchers he has ever gotten to play with. It makes sense for the Tennessee Titans because he is exactly what they need. If they are fine with his character and they think he's a locker room fit, then they are getting a guy who has played in 95 of 97 possible games over the course of his career. Trading for Anderson would only cost about $1.2 million in cap space this season, which is well within the Titans' spending range. They could open up even more space and create some for the future if they want to extend Derrick Henry. Shout out to the Nelk boys because this is a full send. You should absolutely pick up the phone if you're the Titans and call the Panthers and try to make this happen. If you're the Titans, you desperately need depth at wide receiver. If you're the Panthers, it might make sense to move Anderson because he's not too happy about his new quarterback. Here's what it might look like. Panthers receive a 3rd-round pick next year. The Titans receive Robby Anderson. That might be enough to make it happen. I think the Titans should absolutely do that. They need wide receiver help, and they need it now. Do you want to trade for Robby Anderson? Type T for trade or type P for pass. Down in the comments section, it's the pinned comment on today's video. When an ad break comes, go down, let me know what you think. Should Tennessee make this move? Speaking of wide receivers, we're going to talk about OBJ because Tiger Titan 007 says, should the Titans sign OBJ? And I'm assuming Tiger Titan is a Titans fan and an LSU fan, so I don't blame you, man, for wanting to sign OBJ. Here's what he did last season, and a lot of people thought this guy was washed because in Cleveland he was not great, no touchdowns in 6 games. Then he goes to the Rams and looks like the OBJ we saw in New York. 48 targets, 27 receptions, 305 yards, 5 touchdowns in 8 games. He looked like OBJ again. The Rams do not win a Super Bowl without that guy. I would say sign OBJ because OBJ is not going to want to go play for a team like the Falcons or the Texans who aren't going to contend. He's going to want to play for for a contender, he can do that in Tennessee. And the Titans need wide receiver help, so it's a win-win. If you're OBJ, you go to a contender. If you're the Titans, you had another wide receiver. The only con of bringing in OBJ is he's not going to be available for the first half of the season after tearing his ACL in the Super Bowl. MPS_tricks, yo, he says, do you think we should get rid of a high cap hit player, then trade for DK Metcalf for a first and second, and trade a second and third for Tristan Wirfs? Also love the videos. Man, I love those trade ideas, blockbuster trades, certainly. When you're talking about getting rid of a high cap hit player, though, the two that we talk about are trading Tannehill or trading Bud Dupree. Both of those are unlikely because Tannehill is set to make $29 million. Nobody's going to take on that contract. Bud Dupree set to make $16 base salary. I don't think that's very likely either, getting rid of those two guys. So I don't know if trading a high cap player to make those trades is likely. However, if you have the opportunity to trade for one of the two players you just mentioned, I would absolutely do it. And DK Metcalf has been in trade rumors. The Seahawks might look to move him, but I think it's more likely that he gets extended. Matthew Lane says, do you think Tannehill will have a crazy bounce-back season like he did in 2019-2020, or will he just continue to decline? I'll say this, Matt. I think competition is going to be good for Ryan Tannehill. He has some competition now with Malik Willis. I think, I don't know if I'd say he's on a short leash. However, when you look at Malik Willis and how good of a quarterback he is, Ryan Tannehill's got to step up. So I think competition is going to be good for him. I think he will be much better this year than he was last year. He has to be or he's gone. I think without a playoff win, though, his job is in danger. I mean, the Titans cannot do what they did last season, have this great regular season, and then don't get it done in the playoffs. They have to make a deep playoff run. I think AFC Championship game is the goal and the expectation. So if they have another flop, and they're going to make the playoffs, the AFC South sucks. So they'll make the playoffs, but if they flop in the playoffs, Ryan Tannehill's job might be in danger. Rob Wilson, could we trade for Deion Jones? Talk about a guy who's been in trade rumors, another guy we're going to talk about here. Here's what that trade might look like. Titans receive a really, really good linebacker in Deion Jones. The Falcons receive a second-round pick. Yeah, I would absolutely do this. And, you have a chance maybe to rip off the Falcons a little bit because they're a inept organization. They don't know what they're doing over there in Atlanta. So I would say make the move. Deion Jones has been in NFL trade rumors. If the Falcons trade Jones, I feel like they'd want a wide receiver in return, but obviously Tennessee can't afford to give up any wide receivers right now. Would you do this trade? Type D for deal or type ND for no deal down in the comments section. Howie Mandel style, man. Let me know what you would do. Type D for deal or type ND for no deal. It'd be very, very interesting if the Titans make this move. Tim L., why don't the Titans sign a new player? Do you think this roster is enough? I would say enough to win the division. I don't know about enough to win it all. So here are some notable names. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there and available. Trey Flowers, Daryl Williams, Sheldon Richardson, Landon Collins. I mean, there are a lot of really good players still out there in free agency. I would say sign OBJ. I think if the Titans sign anybody, it should be a wide receiver. Now, name a player that you want the Titans to sign. Go down in the comments section and let me know. I'm going to be curious to hear what you have to say down in the comments.